carry on that thoughts. Let's go into those thoughts. Let's have a discussion.
You're 100% right. Like it's like I told Rex, it's like trying to take years of experience and condense it down to like a 2-3 hour class.
Mm-hmm.
Nightmarish.
And I know that you were trying to take so many years of experience, but there was a lot of no's in there, which kind of disheartens you when you as you go along and you go, well, what am I actually saying things right?
You know what? That's fair.
Teaching's all about having those open-ended questions rather than instead of those direct questions where there's a yes or no, there's a right or there's a wrong answer. It's all about those open-ended, let's have a thought and let's get to the same process together instead of doing a direct yes or no. And like you said, you had lots of years of experience to condense into a 2-3 hour class, and it was hard because Ben was trying to move on to the next subject and taking the time to kind of step back and go, maybe we don't get through everything today.
The trick is too, like there's so many different levels of knowledge that people walk in with, and no one's kind of on the same playing field. So do I spend a lot of time worrying about stuff I taught in the last class? Because then you get people that show up like after you left. We had, or was it before you left? I don't remember which. We had a couple people show up that showed up late. It's like, okay, we got to go back now.
So your discussion of where you were having different people argue with one another, that's a way of differentiating the learning that you were trying to do. So you can have it where if you've got someone like Matt Wright, for example, and you can pick someone else that's got the same kind of knowledge, or you feel like could have that same sort of experience and go, okay, let's get you two doing this kind of thing. Let's get you two, but this group over here, can you think of the argument that might, can you think of that evidence that might produce a different result? Or can you think of, have a listen and take into account of, so they're having their argument, well, this group, the right hand side of the court, let's talk about the mens reas. Let's talk about where is that kind of, what kind of intent are we going for? Whilst on the left side, I want you to think about, I want you to consider kind of the actus reus part of this. How are you going to, how do they prove the actus reus part whilst these
It's a
two are
really
having
good
an argument?
idea. Something we could have done today, like both Ben and I teaching, just split the class in two,
Yeah,
because
that's
then it would slow it down. We can kind of focus on specific things, and it would also accommodate both of our teaching styles.
mm-hmm.
It's a great idea, Lara.
You've got to differentiate. You can differentiate all the learning that people have within one class, but you've got to stylize it so that you don't lose those who are less confident, who don't know as much, and you keep those who are confident and very determined. You've got to keep those ones interested by getting them having that debate with one another, because they go to bounce off one another and have that debate, whilst the others, you start with more of the basic stuff and you get their confidence built up through those basic stuffs. They don't then have to worry about what are they doing over there. Well, they're already talking about that. Well, I'm thinking about this first basic step, and you kind of differentiate between that.
I think I want to do that next time and have that accumulate into a mock trial.
I think that would be really good. And you could, I mean, depending on how many people you have, you can have them, each person focusing on a different part of the argument. You can have a different person, you can have one person thinking of you can have two people thinking of the actus reus, you can have two people thinking of the mens reus, you can have two people thinking of like the intent of it, you can have two people thinking of, well, what objection could be used.
Right. I think the idea would be to split them into two groups, have one as the prosecution, one as the defense, and then let's formulate the story, and then what foundation you formulate the story on are your arguments. Like, are you using the actus reus, the elements of crime? Are you using this or using that? Like, make sure that you're covering all these bases. We can
People
have those conversations.
people want to talk and people want to learn and listen and take that all in. They've just got to build up their confidence and get the chance to build up the confidence. And those that have had experience in the court is going to have more confidence than those who don't. And giving them that chance to take on those various different aspects is going to help them. Sorry, I'm just thinking.
No. I see. Right now, I don't know who the teacher is, you or me, because I'm learning a lot here.
It's all about engaging them at the different levels and giving them the right amount of task. And giving them the right person to have that task. So what you could do is get Matt Wright to support someone who isn't as confident, for example.
What I used to do when I had the facilities too, and I don't at the moment, but I will, is I used to have snag a couple of cops and have them make up a scenario, and then we'd actually go to the cells and just go.
That could also work. That would be a really good teaching point for them.
Like, argue this case with a cop.
And you could then differentiate the style of case with them, like from a more simple case to a more complicated case. You could, for example, use scenarios like, because I had some of this in my research, was considering them. Kind of, because this is stuff I had researched out. Of the two types, general and specific, which do you think would be easier to prove? Or if two drunk men get into a fight over a woman, one man falls, hits his head and dies, can the state charge the man who is still alive with murder? What needs to be proved? Yeah, that was some of the things that was just on there.
These are excellent ideas that I'm definitely going to take to heart and push on Ben. Because I know, Rex, you also want to get the mock trial thing going again.
Yeah, but I've been too swamped to actually write any, so it's just a problem.
I mean, you don't really have to write anything. What we can do is have the cops take the scenario. The scenario goes to the cells. From the cells, goes to a quote unquote bench trial. And it just goes to court.
Fair enough.
I mean, it'll be a long thing. It won't be a 1 or 2 hour thing. It'll be a long thing, but it's from beginning to end.
What you can also do, if you want to make it smaller and more even more differentiated, you take one scenario and you put more complications into ones that you want to challenge, and take away more of the you take away a bit more. Like, you give them more information to one direction with another that gives them better ways of stating that.
But I think, upon mentioning that, what I think the idea would be is that we come up with a scenario, then Rex, Ben, and I act as sort of referees. So people can talk about the case, then they can come to us and be like, if they have further evidence, questions about evidence and that kind of thing. That way, all three of us are on the same page as to, what did they find or what did their research entail. That makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of like a very clever role-playing game.
It's just about engaging them and not talking at them, but getting them to talk and work with one another.
Right. I was trying to do that in the latter half after you had gone. Is just these really vague 2 or 3 sentence scenarios. Just argue. You don't have to prove. There's no right or wrong answer. You don't have to prove anything. You can ask questions that I'm probably not going to answer, but the questions are still valid. There was one question about a dude that plays a video game on his phone. He's got a high score. His buddy ends up getting the high score. First dude gets pissed about it and decides to run him over with his car. Last minute, he changes his mind and swerves, still hitting the guy. Is he culpable for the guy's damages? And
Is it
someone brought up what were the road conditions? Like unknown. Valid argument.
So all those little things can really change all of it, but yeah, it's just about engaging them with where they are.
Exactly. I didn't want to hand them a right or wrong. It's just like think of the arguments. That's all that matters. But I don't know that I should define that or allow them to come to that conclusion themselves. Is that too much to ask? Like for them to just like, I would think as attorneys, like that's what we do. We argue. Find
Give
the
them the
holes.
chance to argue. That's what they're designed to do. Give them the
Right.
chance to argue.
But do I have to explain to them that they need to argue?
If they're just starting off, then yes, in some cases you may have to. There may have to be a little bit of hand-holding to actually budge them in the right direction.
Fair.
Consider that even some of the attorneys that are certified now, a lot of them haven't been to court.
Mm-hmm.
Most of them just argue in the cells, and then even that, there's no arbiter in the center that they can object to, or if anything, it was SAO for a little bit, but even then they don't take advantage of that sometimes. They usually just argue with the cops, then the cops tell them to take it to court.
I mean, the last thing I had with Sala was... I can't remember. It was a charge he wanted to get from Grand Theft Auto 8 to unlawful use?
Unlawful use of a motor vehicle, aka joyriding. It speaks to the mens rea. If the person doesn't, if the person intends to permanently deprive the owner of their vehicle, they get the GTA or B charge. If they're just borrowing it to use it for the moment and there's no indication that they're trying to take it away forever, then you typically go with the joyriding charge, the unlawful use.
So we had a little bit of a debate over that because there was no intent over Grand Theft Auto 8, so we just then also went down to, we'll modify the charges, we'll take it down to 50-50, but the charge still sticks.
Yeah, it's often hard to approve. Like, if you catch somebody
that's-
doing chop, then
But
obviously
previously in the penal code there was, in Grand Theft Auto 8, there was the intent that they had to improve. Now there's no intent.
Well, yes, it took that segment away from the second part of the GTA charge, but if you look at the unlawful, it still has that there.
Yeah,
so
but I'm saying...
I know what you're saying, because that was taken away last update.
Yeah, the intent was taken away from Grand Theft Auto 8, so actually you could still say it's Grand Theft Auto 8 because they don't have to prove.
But then the defense attorney would say, well, no, look at the lower charge. That's saying that you need to prove intent. There's an argument to be had there. It's not as solid, but you could still sink your teeth into it, and it could go either way.
Like, I know cops want everything to be black and white, but if everything's black and white, there's no use for lawyers.
Yeah.
Use for me either.
I mean, I do think some of the charges that got changed in the last penal code update were, at least in part, due to me throwing up stupid shit like, well, gee, if they don't have any of the stuff on them, it's only really an attempted robbery unless you can prove it. And so now we don't have attempted robbery, and now we the unlawful use that I would use the joyriding instead of the GTA, and I think they snipped that off to make it a little bit more difficult. Or maybe that's what I'd like to think. Doesn't mean it's true.
I think the it's difficult. Because I understand understand the intent that we not having things black and white, but in this case with the Grand Theft Auto and the unlawful, is that there's no way to argue down the Grand Theft Auto A effectively because it's
And I saying that the other one still
It
asked
still
for the mens
does.
rea.
it does,
So that
but under
is
the
it's
under
not a solid 100% argument. There's still an argument to be made.
this
And honestly, they only have to prove beyond a reasonable doubt.
there is, but Grand Theft Auto Ace comes with the theft as well, and there's it's hard.
I
So
still see
I
the
think-
only
I
difference
think-
between those two charges is the mens rea.
Well, the Grand Theft Auto I doesn't even need to have the mens rea.
But that's the only difference between the two charges. So that is the difference between the two charges. And so,
But that makes
Um,
I
it
guess one could argue is how important is the mens rea?
and
I
that,
mean, at the end of the day, the fucking Grand Theft Auto is designed for boosting. It's designed for chop. It's designed for
ocean dumping.
yeah.
I mean, you could still though make the argument that if they're mistreating that car really, really badly,
Yeah,
Sure.
and cops do all the time. And that's when I, have to either work a
get
little
into a
harder
chase
or give them a pass.
and fuck up the car, then it's like, okay, well, this is going to cost the insurance company X amount of money to replace. Like, be a better driver, or just fucking pull over. Get the slap on the wrist.
Yeah, when the officer started to get, I don't want to say smarter, but pulled out they ocean dumped it, or this one time they ran it into a gas station and it exploded. I didn't have a reply for that. They got me. You could still argue intent they're a shitty driver, but that just it goes from a semi-strong argument to a weaker. They were slowly draining my
I mean,
argument. To
that's
bits.
that's the cop's job. They'll produce
Yeah.
more evidence, and if they're doing it, then they're doing their job. I've got no
Yeah.
problem with that. I've got no problem with making defense attorneys work a bit harder. Because ultimately, let's face facts here: 9 times out of 10, the client's guilty.
yeah.
Yep.
Slim cough.
So what the hell? Stotzy had a sword the whole fucking time?
Yes.
The fuck? Well, it's good he found it.
And Stotzy.
We were tracking that down for days. Bugging Bishop.
Yeah.
It's just funny. It's
Good
Stotzy.
job.
He's the last person I would have thought that had it. I don't know why.
I don't even know why he had it.
I don't either. Because Michaela said she put it up in evidence. He even gave it a, did he even know why he had it? Because
I don't know.
yeah, weird.
Things happen.
Yeah.
So, Rex, you happy with the SAO and the direction we've gone?
I'm
You
glad that
upgraded.
everything is. Did I though?
I
Yeah.
think so.
Boy,
How many times have you and I had discussions about what's going on?
true. I mean, PDO in its current state is kind of what I put into place as well.
Yeah, and then you had left it in charge of a Tasmanian devil with ADD. Sorry.
Yeah, for all of a week before.
Yeah,
You
how'd
know-
that week go? How'd that week go? He pissed me off. Like, I'm the OC attorney. He managed to even piss me off.
How he did like
He called himself
One-
fucking
one
stupid.
week-
He called the
one-
entire PDO stupid. I was so
yeah. That's
like not in such
like-
nice words either.
fair enough.
What are we talking about here?
Jay Wild.
Yeah, the guy, the guy who fucking admits to attempting to murder a cop on video multiple times,
Yeah, that's a smart one.
and he can't think of when a video is put out, he can't think of attorney-client privilege to get that struck. That's all it would have taken.
Oh my goodness.
You,
Mhm.
we have here. I'll show you what I've done.
Okay.
Okay, so over here, I just I needed a place at the moment. There's food in here, and then but I put like the new snacks. I put the new snacks over here on the snack thing. The snackies. But if you have
Snacky.
anywhere, but you want me to, if you want me to put them somewhere. Oh, we have a fridge. I don't know, wherever you guys want me to put shit.
That's fine.
I wanna,
I've been in here for months.
I want to be the feeds people, gives
You
them
want to
plushies.
feed?
Oh, we gotta get you those plushies when Ooze open.
Kind of missing a door on this.
Yeah, I noticed that. Men think
I can't believe, to be honest with you.
think we want to watch. I don't know.
What, 2 months now?
What?
This whole bar exam and like everything the plans that we had thought to make.
Oh yeah, sure. I mean, we were thinking of doing it sooner, but I mean, it is the new year, so things
This
happen
feels-
as they happen.
Feels good to finally get it off the plate and just, like launch it. Like off you go, baby bird.
Aw, you proud papas.
I'm proud to see our attorneys who were bar certified beforehand all passed. Some of which passed like shockingly well.
Who else passed?
Everyone passed.
Okay. Well, that's good.
But like yours and Matt's scores were just so good.
I feel dumb that I missed out on one thing. But that's okay.
I mean, it was a simple click, right? And the way the questions was worded, it was designed to lead you a little bit astray.
I was more panicking about the overwhelming number of questions that there were.
One of the things is we took the old bar exam, we looked at it, and it was kind of like, okay, well, there's certain things like the old one was just basically all fucking case
Case
law
law.
questions. It's like I want to see how people argue. I want to force them to argue, and there's other aspects of law I'd like to touch on, like ethics, which I think is very important. We aren't just a one-trick pony.
I definitely didn't think that, I would be where I'm standing now 6 months ago.
I mean, you're the right man for the job. I can't think of anyone better, to be honest.
5 days from
No,
now, I think
I'm not
is my
saying that
6
to
month
suck your
mark.
mechanical dick. I'm just, it's the truth.
Okay, that's definitely not mechanical, but
I mean, you should brag about that, but whatever.
okay, well,
That's more
Regardless.
information than I need to know.
anyway, moving on. The DOJ has been a wild ride. Like, going from basically having no help as a paralegal to dealing with the most cell cases out of, like, probably, similar to what Starla deals with now, but completely on my own. Or dealt with recently, It's like I was basically on my own. Such a long time. And then giving an opportunity by Ray when he finally came back for a bit. Moving to SAO and now being a judge. It's been a wild ride. And I'm glad that there's so many people given opportunities now in the DOJ. And so many people who care.
It's exciting. I feel excited.
And
I
especially
know
on
that
this
sounds dumb.
scale. Like, this is just the beginning.
Mhm.
We're finally building foundations of what could be hundreds of lawyers and
It's like a
people
city
all
full
over
of
the
criminals.
place. I mean, I believe there's a lot of potential for a lot of people, like, you know, a big law firm to combat another law firm because, you know,
That's
why
what I
not?
want to see. I want to see that epic shit.
Have our own version of Suits, you know, where there's a big law firm that's, you know,
You just want Ted to start singing when you walk in.
I want to give the opportunity for people to follow their own path. If that
Obviously,
involves
the
starting up a
goal-
law firm, and then go ahead. If that involves, you know, just being a private attorney and just doing your own shit, go ahead.
And also, you know, things like that also run into the whole business field, right? Like where all these businesses have contracts with each other and the networks, but they have to go through lawyers to do so. There's just so much potential in the DOJ. And it's not just about, you know, public defense. Yeah, public defense and, you know, the state attorneys are a big part of it, big part of the foundations. This is where everyone learns to be an attorney.
Well, yeah, I'd love to see like one of these larger criminal organizations hire or put a law firm on retainer. Like 24 hours a day, they've got people going in the cells, and 24 hours they require that law firm 24 hours a day.
Percent
Even
admit,
though
like
they shouldn't do crime.
I was, you know, I've had retainers that are criminal groups or people who wanted me specifically.
Mm-hmm. Well, you remember how I was.
Sure. Mm, I think that over time, our penal code will also evolve to a point where they're gonna want those lawyers on retainer.
In my opinion, the penal code should be constantly evolving, not to necessarily close the holes, but as crime gets more sophisticated, as you know, because people will always find something new to do, and it keeps us on their toes. It keeps PD on their toes.
The penal code should be one of the driving factors of why do you want an attorney? Well, if you don't get one, you're probably going to be sitting in jail for years or paying hundreds of thousands of dollars versus,
I think
you know,
first let's get you start doing court cases, because these are grand plans, but unless the court cases actually happen, they can't
I
evolve.
totally understand.
Don't hit me with your logic.
I will hit you
Well,
with
we
my
know
I keep
this. We've
hitting
been-
you with logic.
Trust me, Lyra, we've been talking about this for months. We've been working on things for a long time.
This is
And
just
now we're
step
just
one.
we're finally, like, you know, out of the gate with the beginning of our plans, you know?
So that's
And
just
we're happy to bring you in and other people in on these plans, you know?
whilst it's appreciated that it's a short-term plan, what's the medium-term plan? Because what you're talking about is your short-term and your long-term, but you've got no medium right now.
The main idea is from when I started in this city in the DOJ, it appeared that there were a lot of glass ceilings. Like there was nowhere for people to go. And those glass ceilings were there for a reason. What I'm to understand, before I came to the city, the DOJ was absolutely tiny. It was run by basically two people. There wasn't that much need for it. Now, the city has grown, the DOJ has grown. However, the glass ceiling was still there. We've managed to shatter that glass ceiling to give people opportunity. Because, I mean, building a law firm doesn't happen overnight. It's a slow process.
In the court system, it's like when we talk about medium-term plans, I see someone like yourself, Lyra, eventually, you know, you could be a judge someday.
Oh my goodness.
Well, that's what we're talking about, medium-term plans, right? Like,
You're
we
talking
have
about
people
long-term
like yourself
plans
that
there.
You could take my job.
you could be, you know, the second chair in the state attorney's office.
A lot of it, I think, is going to come down to what people do with these opportunities. Or do people even see these opportunities?
People who are here now, we're all visionaries. We all know what could be. This is why we're here.
And
We're also working towards it.
the visionary is great, but so what happens? What's the next step after you've got these bar attorneys sorted? Because at the moment you're still not able to take the court cases.
That's going to force the judiciary. Reddington's on board.
Garrett?
Garrett's on board. Rex is on board. You know, that's how he got promoted. It's just like, you know, we need to jumpstart Rex's career to actually like clear the docket and move forward. Because right now, like the biggest problem that we're facing right now is that a lot of defense attorneys are feeling
Burnt out?
disheartened because there's no recourse for them. The only recourse is court.
And it's the same with the criminals. They feel disheartened because they feel like they're going to be waiting for months and months. If they don't plead guilty and hope for that plea deal, they feel like they're going to be there for months and months. Not even months, years.
It's a trickle down effect. So getting the judiciary is our next kind of the next goal. Getting Rex in there is a huge step in that process.
I've already been changing from the moment I stepped into the seat.
I know one of the things that Anderson talked about, even just little thing, was starting with a little bit of open court for just civil things like filing marriage.
That's something that Rex and I have talked about. We talked about starting up a monthly traffic court and a monthly small claims court.
It's already started. I've had multiple hearings for things like name changes already. I have expungement hearings being set up. Things are happening, and people are going to start seeing it.
Like,
I think
Just a
let me be
scheduling
honest with you,
thing,
Lyra.
right?
I've been a judge. I've been a chief justice. I've been a lot of things. Being a judge is fucking boring.
that I believe.
And that's kind of the main deterrent for people. But Rex is out here. Rex is basically setting the example on what being a judge could be. Hopefully, it'll entice some of those that are judges to be around the city more often, make themselves more available. And if they don't, maybe they need to get out of the way.
I think something else that would be great is if there was, because you're setting up these hearings, you're setting up these things, but opening it up to, and this traffic court and everything, but having a set time for a court that happens 2 hours every other week. You open it up to the public starts seeing the judges, it starts seeing the judicial system, it starts seeing what is the power of these attorneys. They start believing in it because they can actually see it. You can tell them that the things are happening, but they're not going to believe it unless they actually see it. It's like, it's faith in the unknown, and people don't want to put their faith in the unknown.
You're 100% right. That's kind of the next step is like, you know, that's why we want to do the traffic court thing. It's kind of a double reason. It's a way to train new judges. It could be used to train new attorneys. You don't need a fucking attorney to fight a traffic ticket. But giving the people that chance.
I don't think just
Complete your
limiting it to
case.
traffic court. I think opening it up for just general paperwork. Bring it open for, if you want to have your marriage certificate done, come to this court. Come at this time. Come with your attorney. We can set hearings outside of this, but this is the main time I'm going to be available, and this is going to be open.
It could be the idea too, Rex, is having like judicial chambers open from, you know, X time to X time. But, like,
I mean,
advertising that, my concern is advertising that sooner or later someone's going to kidnap you.
well,
What,
yeah,
through
but
those
that's-
doors? Not if they're single. Those doors are terrible.
They are kind of awful.
Well, yeah, but it's also, you know, gives, you know, the certain cops an opportunity to be like, hey, I want to do security detail today.
I mean, the amount
Or
of judges I've had
DOC.
checking out, or the amount of cops I've had checking on me over the last month is ridiculous.
Or DOC.
Yeah, even DOC. You know, it's like if you guys are not doing anything at the prison, or you just want to change a venue,
We have a security
that could be a
contract with
reward.
EMS already. There's no harm in expanding that to the courthouse. If we know
The
that there's...
corrections would have. I believe DOC should have primary on, bailiff duty or courthouse security. It's usually the sheriff's department, but that's unreliable.
I think having... I know your worries about having a set time and everything, but it goes back to people aren't going to believe it's happening unless they
see it.
unless they see it. They aren't going to believe this person exists.
It's fair. It's completely fair. It's more like this is literally day 2, or it's coming to day 2 for me, and a lot of people think it's like I've been doing this forever. It's really not. Like, this is literally the first week.
I mean,
know.
everyone I've talked to is super excited to see you as a judge.
Mm-hmm. I know that
It's the whole first 100 days, in office type of thing.
Yeah.
What are you going to do with your first 100 days?
I know that something else that Anderson wanted to do was look at the restraining orders again and look whether they need a review time.
They already have a set time.
No, they
it's
don't.
90 days max. No. Anything that is prior to the 23rd of December, I believe,
Mm-hmm.
will expire on the 31st of January. It must be renewed.
It's not in the document.
Right. It's on the penal code now, I believe.
Is it?
I believe so. Yes. It is somewhere. I couldn't recall where it is. I believe it's somewhere in the penal code that protective orders now have a time limit, and anything before a certain date is now going to be invalidated on the 31st unless it's renewed.
There'll probably be a state announcement.
It could be made as an announcement. Yes.
Hold on. Oh yeah, protective orders. All protective orders and restraining orders shall only be issued for a maximum of 90 days. Protective orders... Okay, yes. That probably needs an announcement to say...
There's a couple of things that need to be announced, kind of like if you plead not guilty and you don't appear for court or even attempt to appear for court, you're technically in contempt, which means that a lot of bench warrants could be going out right now, but I'm just not enforcing that.
And also the 30 days since you plead not guilty.
Yes, like if you don't show up for court during those 30 days or even attempt to get on the docket, which, you can't be blamed for not getting a judge, but you can be blamed for not even attempting to find an attorney to be on the docket.
Yeah, they've got to find the attorney.
Right. I'm tired of that being the SAO's job to find them a fucking attorney. Like, get fucked.
But the thing is like, according to the penal code, you are automatically in contempt of court if you do not show up within those 30 days or even attempt to be on the docket. So I could be writing a lot of bench warrants right now.
The judge who will either alter the plea on behalf of the defendant to no contest or issue a judgment present on the facts presented. If the suspect refuses, yeah, okay. So you don't. It doesn't say about contempt, but it does say that you can, at will, alter the plea to no contest or issue a judgment on facts presented.
If you read the next one down, it should say that it's a promise to appear.
When charged with a crime having... Why is it separated? The defendant inherently agrees to pay a court. Failure to do so or considered... Okay. Why is that separated?
No, but it is. Basically, I could be writing a whole bunch of bench warrants right now.
Zazu.
I'd rather have you actually be able to handle these hearings before start writing warrants.
Truthfully, I think that will likely, if anything, enforce that after the restraining orders. Like, we'll just do that at the same time, right? 30 days, starting from the 1st of February. Any not guilty pleas after that, and 30 days after that, the 1st of February.
There's a new statute of limitations that's coming into play.
Yeah, like anything that you plead not guilty to after the 1st, because that way it lines up with the restraining orders expiring as well.
Mm-hmm.
It's a simple thing that it just lines up February 1st. That's gonna be the thing.
Is it in the
Or-
actual restraining order document that they expire after 30 days? Or are you going to make them take a temporary protective order and then make them come to a restraining order hearing?
Well, no. What I'm saying is, no,
Where's that
let this
music
ring
coming from?
through. It's my phone. I'm gonna let it ring through, and then, that I'm just not there. What they call it's Leroy. So I'm just not feeling like answering that right now. So what I'm saying is the not guilty pleas, I'm not going to enforce the contempt thing right now. I'll enforce the no contest, automatic no contest. But starting any no guilties after the 1st of February, I will start enforcing the contempt. They don't show up after 30 days.
That sounds like a plan.
That way it's fair for everyone. Like when the restraining orders also expire, all of them, that is, because
No.
they don't have a fixed date. Like all the new policies will start on the 1st of February. To me, that's probably what I'll discuss with everyone.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm gonna have to assign someone just to take care of all those cases.
Well, yeah. I mean,
I definitely think some of the restraining orders need a hearing, though, because I've seen some restraining orders go through with ridiculous. With
all gonna expire anyway because they don't have a set. Like all the fixed, not like the ones without a fixed date are gonna expire on the 31st.
But there was
so,
one I've seen a few where it's just literally based on on a single civilian report, and it got passed and signed.
I know because I've submitted some like that, but that's not my judges are gonna sign it, then fine.
But
That's
I
not
think
gonna be the case with me. However, as an attorney, I do the best interest of my client, so I submitted it anyway.
yeah, but I think they having perhaps getting the temporary protective order over them, and then making them go to a hearing to define further what's going on.
And that could work, yeah. I mean, I even tried to schedule things for expungements, so.
I think having that protective.
Differentiating between emergency restraining orders and normal.
That's it. Emergency restraining orders.
Well, if you file for harassment, right? If you file for a charge of harassment, it's already basically established that this person is bothering you. Then repeated harassment charges, I believe, go up in time and fine. At that point, you establish enough to get a full restraining order, more than likely, but I would still want a hearing for it.
Yeah, I think having that temporary restraining order, or the temporary protective, I can't remember now, my brain's gone too much. One of them, giving them enough time in order to be able to get a hearing scheduled, and then granting the restraining order based on what you hear, or not doing it, not granting it will give enough time to differentiate between those that are doing it without any proof and those doing it for legitimate causes. And it's going to encourage your attorneys to have more proof. It's going to encourage them to have to think what's going on.
100%. Like I even with my name changes now, my last few name changes, I had someone that they wanted to as a character witness. Even something as simple as that, I had someone then bring someone extra. So
bail and parole hearings.
I mean, I don't
Didn't
have
you
an
send me a
issue with
message
it.
on parole hearings? I can't remember what you wanted me to do on parole.
You're talking to Larry.
too, I think. I
I'd
can't.
like to see parole hearings.
We've had them in the past. Like
Yeah, they do
exist.
happen.
It's
You
just scheduling is a nightmare sometimes.
just some of the parole hearings aren't like they're not due for parole yet.
And expungement hearings is another one. I
They
think
have
that's what-
three lining up. So
I think that's what we were talking about, Lyra, was the expungement hearings.
I mean, I have 3 lined up that I'm going to use as a test bed. You know, it's like I've told them to bring at least one character witness. Like to hear why they want to, you know, obviously why they want to be expunged.
And what's your story?
Like, why are you
How
why are
have
you
you
looking to
changed
change
your
your life
life
all of a
around?
sudden? Yeah. What are you planning to do with this newfound free?
Do you have a job? Can you support yourself without crime?
A lot of questions to be asked. But, you know, they have to see that somebody's willing to ask them.
You know, I think that's going to make the entire thing better for everyone. Well, I mean, probably a little bit more difficult for some people, but it's what it is.
I mean, I have wide availability, so my hours cover the hours that Reddington cannot.
I'm not talking about the hours. I'm talking about some people are just career criminals, like, you know, and a lot of it is learned behavior.
Sure, I mean, if they are, they are. I mean, you can't help that, but
Where it's like, you know, you could always get an expungement. It was always easy. Now it's not. I'm having the same problem with CID right now. Like, we could always get a warrant based on Twitter photo. Well, you can't anymore.
it's not going to be that easy anymore, but it's going to be better. I'm putting the
Mhm.
personal back in something that's was been impersonal since the beginning.
I'm missing my open docket now. I think because of the switch.
Your open docket, which one?
I
For a
think
civil
it
case.
was 281 maybe ticket. I don't see it. It
It's
was
been
my
renamed.
My civil case.
With who?
There's no numbers anymore. It's just renamed. I have lost anything necessarily. Who's it between you, your client, and who?
Holly Watson / Panto versus Hennessy and Jenkins.
There,
I don't see it.
Watson v. Stacks.
That's
Yeah.
not it. Is it? Oh, it did get. You're right.
It actually
Just
has a
rename them all
name.
so they're
Renamed
fucking
it.
court cases instead of just random numbers. So that way we could develop
Oh, I
case
have a
law based on a
judge.
court case.
I have a judge yet.
Shocker.
I've renamed literally almost every case that exists on the docket, so it's easier to figure out what's. It's not a bunch of numbers anymore.
Okay, thank you.
Looks fantastic, Riggs.
I can't even see all of them, so it's just one that's a bunch of numbers because I have no idea what I want to do with it because it's so old.
You did good work today, Rex.
I've been trying. You've been trying. Strah's trying. Lyra's trying. Everyone's trying. It's a team effort. I think everyone did great work. And we will continue to do great work. It's just, you know, not everything's going to happen overnight.
Well, allow me to explain that to CID.
The funny part is that they refused to work with me because I kept sending back subpoenas because I didn't think they had enough evidence. Now they really have no choice but to deal with that.
Oh shit, that's true. Got him.
forbid we require evidence before we violate people's fucking Fourth Amendment
Civil rights, yeah. They're constitutionally given rights, yeah. No kidding. Wild.
It was weird to me that cops are usually the guys screaming about like the right to bear arms and right for this, right for that. Like they're usually that kind of guy. But the second the right goes against them, they're like, you shouldn't have any rights.
Oh, then you shouldn't have a right to a badge. Sorry.
Rights for me and not for thee. I'll arrange that meeting next week once I get the thumbs up or down from what Astrid wants to do. Giving her a few options, so
Who's got hold of? Who's dealing with Wesley Slider?
That's something that I shouldn't be here for.
No. Well, no, it's just which SAO's got it.
That's a
that's
Malara
mine
scheduling
for right
thing, isn't it?
now. That is probably going to get slid to someone else.
Okay. I'm just trying to update DOC side. Yeah, that's all I was going to ask. There's no legal stuff in that, Rex.
Okay. I just want to make sure before
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
accidentally hear something.
No, we're just deciding who's getting assigned to what case.
That's fair.
I'm just trying to get Hudson 5150s sorted.
I think one thing that we do need
Who
to do is probably have a DOJ-wide meeting.
Yeah, I
of some
agree.
sort.
If you want to take that case, Lyra, you can.
Um,
I got him to confess 5 times.
that's something Rex shouldn't be hearing. I
Alright,
will
I'll
have a look
take
when
it.
I actually return to DOC.
Detective has the tapes of the interrogation that you can peruse at your leisure.
What time zone? What time shift are they normally in?
I'm not sure, to be honest. That one was very late for me. It'll probably be early morning for you.
And then I probably couldn't. If
I
that's
have no idea on the suspect what his availability is.
Where's the changing thing in here?
The closet.
Right there. Yeah.
Where else would his clothes go?
Not peeking.
If you two want to handle all of these cases that Rex is talking about, like these what are they called?
It's my you woke me up at 2 a.m. for a warrant load.
I like it.
I'm missing the pipe.
Do you mean Lyra and I?
Yes, I do.
What am I? Am I allowed to do anything? Like, I don't know what I'm allowed to do. Like,
These contempt cases that Rex is talking about, that will pile up very fucking quickly.
yeah, they will after the first.
contempt
though.
of court?
Mhm.
They won't. Okay, so what I'm
Are
saying
they
is
failure
anything,
to not appear?
yes. So
Oh, okay.
anything that
I'm gonna send
that
you
they
off to
plead
someone.
not guilty after the first, not like starting after the first, as in
Let's
it
go
will
raid medical biking.
past the first and then say they plead not guilty on.
Thank you,
on,
King
you
Chief,
know,
for the follow, Crap Tip for the follow,
January
Irritated
1st.
Wolf for the follow, Whip for the
It's
follow,
not gonna
Kuya for the
automatically,
follow,
you know,
Sim
be
for
the
the follow,
contempt thing. What I'm
Howie
saying
for the
is,
follow, Justin for the follow,
say like
Zolox
March
for the
2nd
5
or
month
3rd
resub.
thing, you know,
Thank you very much.
obviously
Talab for the follow, Money Miggy for the
this will be the first
raid,
case that
and Darth for the
goes to
follow. Thank you
contempt
very
if
much for coming. Thank
somebody
you very much for being here. I hope
pleads
you
not
have a
guilty
wonderful
on
evening, and
February
I will
1st.
Okay,
send
so
you.
yeah, I got it. So
See you next
Basically,
time.
you just need to
Ah!
show up.
yeah, you
Yeah,
have to
just
show up or
get
get
on the
in touch.
docket. Get on the docket. That's all.